Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IS Academy. Here we continue with our detailed analysis of the Indian economy PYQ. So in this lecture we will be looking at the payment ecosystem. The questions asked for or on the topic of payment ecosystem, there have been around 7 questions in the last about 10 years. So almost one question in a year is what they are asking. So let's get started with the PYQs. The very first question asked in 2017. The question says, consider the following statements. Statement 1. National Payment Corporation of India, that is NPCI, helps in promoting the financial inclusion in the country. That's the first statement. Second, the NPCI, that is the National Payments Corporation of India, has launched RuPay, a card payment scheme. Now, what is this National Payment Corporation of India? See, the National Payment Corporation of India is a non-profit or not-for-profit organization, a non-governmental organization formed by the Indian Banks Association and the RBI. So RBI and the Indian Banks Association have come together and formed the NPCI, which is a non-governmental, non-profit organization. Now its function is to take care of the payment systems that are there in India. That is the idea, which is there in any of your standard book under banking chapter. You will study that. So statement 1. It helps in promoting financial inclusion. Yes, it does help in promoting the financial inclusion. Plus, it has, of course, also launched the RuPay card. So, if you would also see the scheme of Kisan Credit Card, the Kisan Credit Card, wherein the Kisans or the farmers are given non-collateral loans. Again, they are provided with the RuPay card through which they can withdraw the money. So again, RuPay card is also the thing that is launched by the NPCI over here. So both the statements are correct. Hence the correct answer here would be C, that is both 1 and 2. Let's move on to the next question. The question asks, which of the following is a most likely, not necessarily, but most likely consequence of implementing the unified payment interface? Again asked in 2017. So it can happen that even though on an average one question is being asked, but in a year 2 questions can be asked. So which of the following is most likely consequence of implementing the unified payments interface? What is unified payments interface? It is our UPI that we use. We use the UPI to transfer the payment. We can take someone's UPI and transfer the payment without needing to require their bank account details, right? So that's what UPI is. And through UPI, you use UPI through the Bheem app, GPay, PhonePe, etc. You can directly transfer money to anyone you want. You want to purchase something, you can directly transfer anywhere you want. Now, previously, without the UPI, you were required to transfer the money from your bank account to a particular wallet. Let's say MobiKwik, let's say Freecharge, even Paytm acted like a wallet in the beginning stages. So these were wallets wherein you transfer the money from the bank to these wallets, and whenever you want to buy anything, then you can utilize these wallets. Now also you might make, let's say, open an app Myntra, make a direct payment, but you want to return that product. So they ask you, do you want the money directly back into your bank account or in the Myntra wallet? If it is in the Myntra wallet, you can use it only on the Myntra platform. But if it is in your bank account, you could directly use it anywhere you want. So previously you were required to transfer money from the bank account to the wallet. Now directly your bank account itself will have a UPI. You will have your PhonePe UPI, GPay UPI. If you have a bank account in ICICI, there will be a UPI for that also. So you can use that particular UPI to transfer the payment. That is the idea of UPI. Let us see what the question is saying. Which of the following is the most likely consequence of implementing the unified payments interface? Option A, mobile wallets will not be, this should be will not be necessary for online payments. Yes, that is correct. Now mobile wallets would actually not be necessary, but still let us look at the other options as well. Second option, or B, digital currency will totally replace the physical currency in about 2 decades. This is an extreme statement, And also this is basically a hypothetical statement as well. It might happen, it may not happen, you cannot say for sure. Anyhow, most likely you can argue, but not necessarily it will replace the entire currency in the next 2 decades. So see, FDI inflows will drastically increase. Whenever in UPSC you come across words like drastically, more often than not they are incorrect. Drastically increase, that is incorrect. Direct transfer of subsidies to poor people will become very effective. Direct transfer of subsidy, of course, the government can transfer through UPI, but directly to the bank account they can. So it is not much of a use as such. The major or most likely consequences, mobile wallets will not be necessary for online payment. That's the most appropriate option over here. Let's move ahead to the next question asked in 2018. Question says, which one of the following best describes the term merchant discount rate sometimes seen in news? Now, every time it does not work for you to look at the phrase or the word used and look at the English meaning of that. It can be at times, the word can at times be misnomers. Misnomers. Misnomer means a word whose literal meaning is something, but in reality it means something else. So that is the case over here. Let's say generally if you understand merchant discount rate, what would you think? Option A, incentive given by a bank to a merchant for accepting payments through debit cards pertaining to that bank. Merchant discount, you may think this can be a possibility. B, the amount paid back by banks to their customers when they use debit cards for financial transactions for purchasing goods and services. Possibly this also. C, the charge to a merchant by a bank for accepting payments from his customers through the bank debit cards. It cannot be a charge because it's a discount is what you will say. D, the incentive given by the government to merchant for promoting digital payments by their customers through the point of sale machines and debit cards. This is also a possibility. So you will think three of the options A, B or D, but that is incorrect. So because this word is a misnomer, this word here does give you discount, but it is not about discount or giving incentive. It is rather charging a fees. Yes. So what's the correct answer if I say it's charging fees? It is the charge to a merchant by a bank for accepting payments from his customers through the bank's debit card. Now you'll ask, why will the merchant be charged for accepting payment in debit cards? See, this particular merchant discount rate started or came over a decade and a half back, right? You had the merchant discount rate. Why? Because at that time the debit cards were coming up, right? You had the debit card. Now a lot of people did not have, very few people had the debit card, very few people used, and the volume of transaction was also very less. Even though the volume of transaction is less, still you need to have the entire ecosystem in order to ensure that the debit card functions, right? And the volume and all was very less, very few people were using it, but you need to still ensure that the entire ecosystem is functioning properly. As a result of which, for the functioning upkeep of those system, there was some charge that was basically asked of the merchants if they accept payments in the debit card. So if you are making payment in the debit card, you are utilizing the function of the ecosystem. That is why you are being now charged. So that is why the merchant basically is charged by the banks for accepting the payments through the debit cards. That is why if you go into a shop and a particular thing is of 1,000 rupees, if you go to pay in card, they will say that it will be requiring 1,020 rupees. 20 rupees extra is the merchant discount basically that is there. If you pay in cash, then there will be no such charges, right? So that was the reason. Correct answer is option C, the charge to a merchant by a bank for accepting payments from his customers through the bank's debit cards. Next, again asked in 2018, factual question, which one of the following links all the ATMs in India? National Payments Corporation of India. I have said it takes care of the payments ecosystem in India. Let's move ahead. Next, with reference to digital payments, consider the following statements. Bhim app allows the user to transfer money to anyone with a UPI enabled bank account. Yes, it does. Bhim was the first app that started using the UPI services. Hope that's clear. While a chip pin debit card has 4-factor authentication, Bhim app has only 2-factor authentication. No, that's almost opposite. Not almost, not completely, but almost, in the sense that it is the chip pin debit card that has 2-step authentication, whereas Bhim has a 3-factor authentication. What are the 3 factors here? The first factor is the Bhim app would be in your mobile phone. That means your phone handset, and the phone number, basically, more importantly, is the first identification. Second, you will have the bank app, or let's say the bank account number details and stuff installed in whatever the app you're using, the Bhim app. In fact, even in the Bhim app also, you'll have to link it with the account number. So that is the second one. The third factor authentication is actually the pin that you enter to do the transaction. So that is why it has a 3-factor authentication system, whereas the chip pin debit card, they have simply 2-factor authentication. What are those 2 factors? One, you swipe the card, which has to be accepted in the machine so that it is of a proper account and stuff, which is still functioning. And second is your pin. That is it. Okay. Let's move ahead. Next, asked in 2019, consider the following statements. The Reserve Bank of India's recent directives relating to storage of payment system data, popularly known as data diktat or diktat, command the payment system providers that. So basically, what is happening here is the storage of payment system data, which is properly known as diktat, right? So the RBI has come up with a directive regarding the storage of payment system data. Now this directive is requiring the people to do what is asked. Statement 1, they shall ensure that entire data relating to payment systems operated by them are stored in a system only in India. Yes, it has to be stored only in India. So this option is incorrect, because one has to be there in the option. Second, they shall ensure that the system are owned and operated by public sector enterprises only. No, that is incorrect. Only owned by the government? No. Others can also own, private sector can also own. So statement 2 is incorrect. So this is gone. This is also gone. The only option remains, that is 1 only. But still, let us look at the third one. They shall submit the consolidated system audit report to the Comptroller and Auditor General of India by the end of the calendar year. No, absolutely not. They don't have to do that. So correct option is, the correct statement is only the first statement. The other 2 are incorrect. So the correct option is option A, that is 1 only. So these were the questions on the payment ecosystem. Subscribe to Legacy IAS Academy channel and stay tuned for more such detailed analysis coming your way for the rest of the economy as well as other subjects. Thank you.